Customizing. In terms of toy collecting, it's a process of modifying an existing toy to change or improve an existing product. Whether you remove a production issue, fix a breakage, or turn one toy into something different, customizing is a nice way to engage with our creativity. The organizers of the Botcon convention, Fan Publications, noticed how fans like to customize their toys, and since the 2006 Botcon, they decided to introduce a new event for the convention, a customizing class. It allowed the attendees to make their figures from supplied parts, paints, and stickers. Since I live in this little shithole in the middle of Europe, I never had a chance to interact with the customizing class, so I decided to do a little video where I look over and give my opinions on the released toys. Photos and info are of course taken from TFWiki. Official Transformers Fan Convention 2004. I did mention the official customizing class started in 2006, but the story of fan conventions letting visitors customize their toys starts here. As a surprise activity, Anthony Beard, a model painter who worked for Hasbro, brought in a lot of unassembled Energon Battle Ravages to show the fans how the toys are built, painted and prepared for shipment. As seen in this photo, only difference from the standard release was that his Energon weapons were molded in translucent red. Botcon 2006 this year let attendees work on the mold of red Cybertron scrap metals. With that they could either build a Cybertronian mode Beast Wars Inferno, or they could use the head mold of Japan-only Codybot to do a Cybertron-styled Rumble. The second option was probably inspired by scrap metals being originally named Rumblers in Japan, as a reference to the Casseticon. Botcon 2007. I'm writing this section after I already recorded the whole video, and I hope this will show you how interesting this toy actually is. Attendees of this year's convention got the mold spruce of classic Grimlock, and the idea was to turn him into Overkill. Yeah, with how hard white paint is to work with, most Overkills just look like Grimlock with some blue bits on him, but this custom class toy is so sick that Hasbro themselves made a universe Overkill from Grimlock next year. Botcon 2008. With Botcon 2008 being Shatterglass themed, it's only natural the character given to attendees was Shatterglass Nightbeat. Shatterglass Nightbeat is a crooked cop, a chief of secretary Autobot police, that is ready to censor you out of existence. And apparently he is so good at his job that even Autobots don't like him. As a goofy voice take, he speaks like the actor Edward G. Robinson, but my generation will remember the parody of him from the Looney Tunes, where the character of Rocky, the mafioso who got into fights with Bugs Bunny, spoke the same way.
Rocky's a little too smart for you. Yeah, a little too smart. Yeah.
Also, I feel it's worth adding that Nightbeat suffers from cosmic rust. As a toy, Nightbeat was made from the same plastic as Timeline's Nightbeat, but without the thermographed flames, instead having a lot of black details to emphasize how evil he is. He also featured a unique Autobot secret police insignia with a dagger stabbed through the Autobot's face, apparently a reference to Star Trek Terran Empire emblem. In my opinion, this version wears the mold much better. The main verse Nightbeat is supposed to be cool and suave, as a PE should, but Energon Hotshot's body feels a tad too dumpy and clunky for that. This rotund and stumpy build works much better for a comically evil police chief who suffers from a terminal illness. Botcon 2009. Even though most of the toys this year were stylized after the original Wings universe, Customization class continued the Shatterglass theme with a complementary toy to Nightbeat, Shatterglass Thunderclash. Shatterglass Thunderclash is described as a seasoned veteran who oversaw thousands of military campaigns. He is the leader of Cybertron Elite Guard, after eliminating its earlier leader, Hyperdrive. He also plans to remove Optimus Prime, since he sees his increasing madness as an issue for the future. Also, he's based on the Nazi commander Erwin Rommel? What the fuck? Thunderclash is mostly in the same situation as Nightbeat last year. They took unpainted copies of the Botcon Thunderclash mold, with himself as a relic of Nerjan Rodimus, and gave them to attendees, with a paint job that was supposed to complement Nightbeat. And why is that important? Well, because the idea was for Nightbeat and Thunderclash to combine to become Nightclash, a powerful super robot whose one half is constantly wriggling in pain and other one is twisting in cringe. Since, as I mentioned, Nightbeat has all the diseases, while Thunderclash tries not to contract them, since he's too important to Autobot's military to be lost. Going back to my opinion about design, I like him. The white and black and mint details look really nice. Botcon 2010. Botcon 2010 was mostly focused on the Generation 2 side of Transformers, so this year's custom toy was the iconic G2 Sideswipe. G2 Sideswipe was fully molded in brand new colors, which was apparently a surprise to FunPub, and came with a sticker sheet. Between the two classes, 52 of them were made. For some reason, Sideswipe used the mold of red alert, leaving him with a pair of holes on his canopy, where normally a light bar would go. But hey, it at least lets you mount his guns in vehicle mode. G2 Sideswipe is a really cool color scheme, and Universe Sideswipe is a good mold, even though it's a bit oversized these days. My only issue is that they chose a main character to be an exclusive, or at least these days we have the Siege Sideswipe to fill the spot. Botcon 2011. With this year being the end of animated, FunPub decided to focus on it. As the main convention had the Stunticons, the custom class had Minerva. Animated Minerva was a medic trained by Fixit. To get some field experience, she was sent to Earth to train under Ratchet, but before she got to Autobot base in Detroit, she crashed in Quebec, Canada. In disguise, she scanned a Japanese car and befriended the teenage girl that drove it. This meeting made her comfortable enough to break the Cybertronian stigma about organic beings. Her bio is of course a reference to G1 Minerva, who was a Japan-only character that was a half-French girl who became a Transformer. As a toy, Minerva used the same mold as animated RC, which by the way I reviewed ages ago, so you can assume it's her Cybertronian form. Like Sideswipe last year, Minerva has new colors for her plastic. She even got some new resin sculpted parts, a set of 2 different antennae. You can either have those using the character model, designed by Derek J. Wyatt, or you can have more G1 accurate ones, which were designed by Jesse Witternich. You know, animated is my favorite Transformers series, so I will always love new lore and new toys from it. Botcon 2012. With the production team returning to Shattered Glass returned to the customizing class. Ooh, it rhymed. This year's toy is Longarm. Longarm is a high-ranking autotrooper, serving in the secret police as a forensic analyst. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have an ego, often calling himself Longarm Prime, believing he could be the new leader of Autobots. But recently something weird happened to him. He became colder and more secretive, developing a desire for logic. Of course, the idea is that Longarm is Shockwave on the cover, as a reference to animated. The issue is that Shattered Glass Shockwave doesn't have the logic mania in his personality. With that, Sean Tessman, the creator of Longarm, suggested that this is classic Shockwave, possessing Longarm from a distance. But that's just his headcanon. As a toy, Longarm references the Alternator storyline, with him being a Shockwave-flavored relic of Jazz. After assembling him, you could either give him the Jazz head, or a brand new Shockwave head with a gun arm. Sadly, without proper modification, the parts make the toy unable to transform. But there are also technically second-party products. They weren't developed with Hasbro, just using their license. In my personal opinion, this toy is really pretty. I just love the lilac purple, and many people also thought that making Longarm stupidly rare and stupidly priced in the aftermarket. Longarm was in such high demand that the third-party company made an upgrade kit for RTS Jazz that came with a head, blaster arm, and a whole sticker sheet to replicate the paint effect. I once even owned it, but I sold it off to my friend, Whoa Mobo. Check her out on Twitch. Botcon 2013. This year's convention focused on yet another obscure branch of Transformers series, Machine Wars, with a bit of beast machines sprinkling in the form of Obsidian and Striker representing the show characters, and Blast Charge, or drones named after him to be exact. Originally the plan was for the toy to be a new version of Beast Machine's Brute. They were supposed to use the Warpath body with Warpath's head sculpt, but due to some error, FunPub got the heads of Striker, and since they got 3 weeks before the convention, they quickly needed to change as much media as they could to make them an army of drones that served Striker. Of course, there were still issues like people wondering why they had a leftover screw, since Striker head sculpt only needed 1, while Warpath needed 2. As a toy, Blast Charge is a yellow relic of Warpath with a set of new stickers. There were roughly 120 of them. As a bonus, each drone came with a plastic rod and a sticker sheet. The idea was to give her a little flag she could fly around. Also, technically not the official Hasbro product, so the designer, Spectre Scott, actually has it available on his Shapeway. And if you want a full review of her, my buddy Fireby27 has a video on her. I feel absolutely zero emotions about this toy. Colors aren't that pretty, it doesn't represent any character, it's really bland. and in my opinion it's my least favorite custom class toy, Botcon 2014. This year figures was Primal Prime, with him being a little blast to the past by not having unique plastic colors, instead sharing mold with Ape-Link, who was also available that year. The character of Primal Prime actually debuted in the Free Age Convention comics back in 2001 as a way to give some personality to the Primal Prime toy released in Beast Machine storyline in 2000s. Since I'm sure that toy existed cause some Hasbro designer thought it was really clever to go, come on, we've made Optimal Optimus, we need Primal Prime. The character was created as a fusion of Vox knowledge, scrap left over in the Ark, and life-giving energies of the Matrix of Leadership. Primal Prime is essentially a living matrix. He combines the power, force, and knowledge of all the past primes into one being. For my tokusatsu fans, I can describe him as something of an anniversary rider prime. He speaks the catchphrases, does the movie and comic references, he can communicate with past mentors, all that stuff. But this incarnation is supposed to depict Primal Prime from the Wings universe, who had a similar origin. Born at the end of Beast Wars, a fusion of alien science and Matrix of Leadership, and his concentrated knowledge of the whole Matrix. As mentioned earlier, he shares classic colors with Ape-Link from the same convention, and they are both redecos of the 10th anniversary Optimus Primal. It's kinda sad that due to being only a paint job, he shares too many colors with Ape-Link, making him feel more just like a old video game skin. The original Primal Prime was giant, had this chrome and translucent elements, he simply stood out. Now this is just a second player Ape-Link. Botcon 2015. This year mostly focused on Axiom Nexus, the point where all Transformers universe meet in a single point. But the attendees instead got a character from Beast Wars, a series of prose stories showing a grim dark version of G1 universe, where Cybertronians need to perform Hunger Game-like contests to ration out the last remnants of Energon. The series is full of twists and turns, with many intriguing stories, one of them being the remnants of Galvatron's DNA, stored by the Cybertron Council. In short, after Lio Convoy went rogue and started rebelling against the Cybertron's rulers, they decided to create a clone of him, and after fusing with Galvatron's DNA would be unstoppable and forever loyal to them. As a toy, Galva Convoy used the same modified Orion Pax mold as Lio Convoy did. But instead of being Lio Convoy colors, he's now inspired by this Japanese lottery prize that was supposed to represent Lio, tainted by the Amalgamua energy. As a bonus for attendees, Galva came with the only accessories of the Covenant of Primus book, and if you were lucky and won a raffle, you could get the Matrix of Conquest. Both of these were handcrafted by a Japanese fame, Miu, and like many other accessories, they aren't technically official Hasbro products. I love this toy and I love the accessories that you could get with him. I'm sure that back in the day, before the popularization of 3D printing, when it was the only way to get them, it was a really nice treat. Botcon 2016. This year, FunPub went hard with not one, not two, not three, but 5 different toys you could customize. If you attended the custom class, you got a blank combiner with first aid mold, and with help of a sticker sheet you could either make G1 cartoon Ratchet, G1 Marvel Ratchet, a new G2 Ratchet, whose bio describes him as a member of the non-existent G2 Defensor or a completely new combiner Modulus, or Shatterglass Ratchet. The sticker sheet also contained a pair of little eyes that if glued to the combiner peg were meant to replicate the toy sticker face. Could also take the stock first aid head to turn him into G1 version of the rescue bot Medics, who was described as the newest member of the Protector bots, who are always ready to work as the first responder that's focused on stabilizing the patient before Ratchet or First Aid can do any surgeries. Cause this job isn't all that nice, and sometimes it gets pretty grim, which made Medics develop a rather dry sense of humor. Of course, as a Protector bot, if needed, Medics can become a limb of Defensor, but apparently his inexperience may cause the Defensor to be glitchier. He can also become a component of Modulus, the mysterious combiner shown in the instructions of Shatterglass Starscream. If you finished your doctors at the customizing class, you got an accessory of Enigma of Combination. Like last year's convention, they were also handmade by Miu, and also they aren't 100% official Hasbro products. They can be held by any toys with 5mm arms, and they can also plug into the torso of Optimus Prime or any of his redecos. And that's it. Sadly, FunPub got into a lot of controversies, meaning as soon as the license ended, Hasbro decided to cut ties with them, leading to the end of Botcon and officially endorsed customizing class. So yeah, I can see why the customization class was so popular. It for sure gave us some nice and unique toys and characters, so I can see why it always sold out really fast. And the toys these days are collector grails. But I hope Hasbro will one day revisit the characters cause damn, I don't want to pay that much for animated Minerva. Please tell me, which toy was your favorite? Which one was your least liked? If you could change one thing in them, what would you do? Please leave it in the comments below cause I'm genuinely curious. Bye!